Hey everyone, this is Nikachu, Merfolk Master, and can we start a discussion about how ridiculously underrated Skyclave Apparition is in the modern metagame, or just to modern in general? This card, I mean, when it got spoiled for Zendikar Rising, people were like, yeah, this thing could see modern play, but I don't think that people could anticipate that this is going to be one of the more core cards, more core modern staples going on in the future, and I don't think people have yet to appreciate its influence on the modern metagame. Let's take a look at this thing. I mean, double white in a generic 2/2 creature. When it enters the battlefield, exile up to one target non-land, non-token permanent you don't control with converted mana cost 4 or less. So what that means is like basically everything, almost everything in modern outside of, I don't know, Reality Smasher, Gurmag Angler. Can you name anything? Primeval Titan, but at that point, you know, who cares? If Primeval Titan's on the battlefield, you know, we're all lost. No, we're all lost if Primeval Titan has resolved. So Skyclave Apparition, outside of that, I mean, basically deals with any permanent in the any non-land permanent in the modern metagame. And when Skyclave Apparition leaves the battlefield, the exiled card's owner creates an XX blue illusion creature token where X is the converted mana cost of the exiled card. You ever like lend something to someone and then, you know, I don't know, a few years go by, you want it back, and then when they return it, it's like, that's not what I gave you. Like, what the hell is this crap? And that's basically what it is with Skyclave Apparition. You don't get the card back. A lot of these Oblivion Ring effects. You look at Deputy of Detention, which was a staple of Modern for a very long time, and was that sort of creature to exile permanents on the battlefield. When it leaves the battlefield, you get the permanent back. You get that planeswalker back. You get that creature back. That does not happen with Skyclave Apparition. When Skyclave Apparition leaves the battlefield, you get this garbage. You get, like, if you steal a one creature with 1 converted mana cost, you get a 1/1 creature. If you steal something with 2 converted mana cost, you get a 2/2. It's basically a vanilla grizzly bear. You get a 3/3 token. These tokens are trash in Modern. They're completely outclassed by everything that could possibly go your way. So Skyclave Apparition is a huge upgrade to any deck playing white that needs to deal with like any permanent. Where enchantments, artifacts, creatures, planeswalkers. Are you kidding me? And this is being shoved in almost everything. You look at the archetypes that are playing Skyclave Apparition. It's you got the green-white Titan deck. You've got Death and Taxes. Heliod Company. Humans is running this. Spirits, both blue-white and banned. Orzhov Stoneblade, blue-white Stoneblade, all the Stoneblade variations. If you are running white, this is the like premier card now to be running in your deck, either in the main deck or the sideboard. It deals with normal permanents, but also deals with the sideboard cards that you might need to be worried about. So in a deck like Spirits, it will just be used as an interactive card to deal with your opponent's threats. But in a deck like Heliod Company, if you're going to be bringing in the Pithing Needles, if you're going to bring in the Grafdigger's Cage, if you're going to bring in anything that is going to interact with that combo, I mean, they're just going to play Skyclave Apparition and exile it. I'm like, I want to bring in Damping Matrix and shut off all the abilities. The only thing that stops Skyclave Apparition is basically Torpor Orb. But Skyclave Apparition, incredibly good toolbox and upgrade to any deck playing white. And, you know, Deputy of Detention needed to splash blue for this thing. But with Skyclave Apparition, you can be all in white, or you can go into a deck playing white and not splashing blue. This card, completely underrated. For a card that's seeing so much play in Modern, I mean, look at the price trend here. For paper, I mean, it was basically pre-selling at like $4 to $2. It went down to like about $1.50, and it hasn't been until it's seen enormous play in Modern that people are starting to appreciate it on paper. And on Magic the Gathering Online, again, like started off as nothing, quickly rose up actually, because immediately on Magic the Gathering Online, you see this deck's playing for Skyclave Apparition, this deck's playing for Skyclave Apparition, this one's playing for Skyclave, that one's playing every deck's playing Skyclave. Suddenly white is the flavor of Modern. If you're not running white for Skyclave Apparition, what are you doing? And why not? It deals with almost all the most oppressive, annoying cards. We're like, again, the Planeswalkers. They resolve it to Teferi Time Raveler and do something. Okay, I don't care. I'm going to play my Skyclave Apparition and exile it. And it's really gone. You path to exile my Skyclave Apparition. You do anything to my you kill it. You're not getting the Teferi back. I'm sorry, Teferi's gone. Goodbye. Same thing with Karn the Great Creator. I think now, Eldrazi-Tron's still a solid deck, but it's going to be a lot less solid with Skyclave Apparition in the metagame, because it can just immediately, on their turn, exile the Karn the Great Creator, or exile whatever the hell stupid permanent that you grab from the sideboard with Karn the Great Creator, whether it's going to be Ensnaring Bridge or Liquid Metal Coating. It's gone. It's gone. You tried to bring in some sort of toolbox card to deal with my combo. No, that's also gone. It's a Swiss Army knife. It answers everything. Jace the Mind Sculptor, 4 or less. Like I said, that's basically everything in the Modern metagame. And the deal is, you know how Modern is getting so aggressive and is so low on the curve with small creatures with a lot of power. We're talking things like Death Shadow. Just gets exiled. And if you kill the Skyclave Apparition, no, you are not getting your 10/10 creature back. You're getting a 1/1 blue illusion. This is what you're getting back as a 1/1 creature. Same thing with Tarmogoyf. Goodbye, 6/7 Tarmogoyf. Say hello to a 2/2 illusion creature. Goodbye. Same thing with Scourge of the Skyclaves. You thought you had a 10/10 Scourge, now you just have a 2/2 creature. Monastery Swiftspear. What a huge blowout it is against the Aether Vial decks. Humans, Spirits, Death and Taxes, Eldrazian Taxes. Eldrazian Taxes also playing this card to blink and blink with Eldrazi Displacer. Merfolk, Goblins. All the Aether Vial decks are now going to be at a disadvantage if they are up against a Skyclave Apparition. I mean, a card that... yeah, I mean, you thought you had a big mana advantage with your Aether Vial, but it's gone, and you're not going to get it. And what you're going to get back is just going to be absolute trash. So, I mean, if we look at a lot of top decks right now, like Green-White, Heliod Company, Green-White, Titan, Green-White, we have Mono-White Death and Taxes. A lot of these decks are utilizing and abusing Skyclave Apparition. And of course, if you have any way of blinking this thing, that is a good thing. If you can get into play with Collected Company, that is a good thing. It's a Coco target. Yes, you can play Collected Company, and if you find Skyclave Apparition, it is going to enter the battlefield, so you can dig for it in that way. There's a lot of good synergy with Skyclave Apparition. I think the cost is really low for the very powerful effect. It's literally exile a non-land permanent, because the illusion that you get back afterwards does not even compare to the threats that you are taking with this thing. And the only thing I fear is that it's going to be so good to the answers to the other, whatever answer you bring in against a deck that's using Skyclave Apparition, they could just use it against it. So permanents are now at risk. Permanents are strictly at risk. I think this is an undervalued card. It was obviously very underrated on the onset of pre-selling. I know the Death and Taxes community, they were on it from the start. They saw Skyclave Apparition, and they're like, this is the card. This card's going in our deck. Absolutely 100% we're slotting it in. And I think people didn't realize how good it was in basically any other deck that could play white. So, I think this is going to be a Modern staple for many years to come. If you are in a base white deck, you definitely have to get your copies, in my opinion, because as more decks that use white come out, they're going to be slotting this card in them as well. So anyway, Skyclave Apparition, probably the single largest sleeper in Zendikar Rising that has made one of the largest impacts on the metagame. This is Nikachu, Merfolk Master, talking about Skyclave Apparition.